Hello everyone and welcome to another video of for Storytelling Cafe. First thing first, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ajam Mohammed and I am a member of Cafe Clock Hikayat crew. For those who don't know who we are, well, basically we are a team of young storytellers who are originally located in Morocco, specifically in Fez and Marrakesh, and who is representing Cafe Clock. If you want to get to know more about us, check some of my colleagues' videos on their channel. Now, as representatives of a tradition that existed in the Moroccan culture for more than 1,000 years, I want to say that it's a great honor to be a part of a huge collaboration between tellers from different places around the world who gathered to put on a show and make a great content by performing tales from different places across the world. Now, for the newcomers, check out what's new on the channel. And those who are already subscribed, show your love and support for the tellers of Word Storytelling Cafe. Now, without much any further ado, the story I'm going to tell, it tackles a theme that has been a topic of discussion for several years, which is the word's perception towards gender. Basically, how the word see men is different from how they see women. Men are seen as the dynamo of the group that they exist in. Basically, the LeBron James or Lionel Messi of the society, who can carry on their shoulders, like the task assigned to them and the role that they are playing in the society. With time, this has grown a social conception within the heads of men that basically they are everything, and without them, so many things cannot be achieved without their leadership, their mastermind, and their strength. That's from one point. On the other hand, women's rule was secondary, if not no rule at all. They were given the task to be in charge from a domestic level, basically just housewives who are only in charge of their houses and their children. But with the movement of time, things have changed. Women have been more active in the society and they have shown that they are just as good as any man around the world. Now, the issue that I'm seeing from all this, that although that this has shown how much the word has grown and how it became mature from this perspective, we still can see that there is still a degradation of the women's image from men. Basically, there are still some disrespect. There's still like this clash between genders that women are nothing compared to men. But you guys telling Mohammed, what's this is related to the story. Now, a long time ago, there was a man who had a big word within his country. A merchant who had a trade of buying and selling silk, flax, agate, and jewel. And as a fulfillment of joy in his life, he was blessed with a smart, righteous, and faithful woman. He had 4 children with her. He raised them and looked after them and took a good care of them. But one day he passed away, leaving behind him all his wealth and his family behind him. Now, the woman sees herself that she had a man who she can rely on all the matters of life. Until she became alone. Now basically she is all alone, helpless, and seeing those children who are too young to take the responsibility. Now, because she was a beautiful woman and an example of beauty among the women of the country, her husband Scalise, the merchants, and so many others proposed to marry her after his death. But she refused them all. dedicating her life for one single reason, which is to look after those children and making from them great men in the society. At that time, there was a gang of thieves living in a cave of a mountain outside the country. Those thieves were blocking the way on the merchants' caravans, stealing their money and everything that belonged to them, and took what they stole to the cave to collect it and to sell it in another country. The leader of these thieves heard about this woman and her beauty, so he gathered his friends and told them, "Lads, what do you think if I propose marriage to this woman? Is she going to refuse me too? I'm still young, strong, and I got the money." His friends doubted that she was going to accept, but the leader insisted to go and give it a try. The next day, he went to the widow's house alongside with one of his friends, with them a gift of proposal. They knocked at the door. The woman answered. "Who's there?" He replied, "Allah's guest, madam." She told him, "Welcome to you, but I can see you are men, and I'm just a woman, and there is no man around the house, only children." The leader told her, "With the companionship of my friend, I've come to propose marriage to you, my lady." Simply, she only said this to him, "Go. No man shall haggle me for marriage, no matter how old or young, rich or poor he is." Days after, the leader returned to the widow's house, hopefully that she changed her mind this time, but again with failure. Because of the oath he took from the widow, he gathered his friends once more and told them, "Look, what makes this woman so insolent is that amount of money her husband left her. If we steal it, she'll be forced to marry me." Then one of his friends asked him, "You have a plan, don't you?" He told him, "Oh yes, I have a plan. I will send one of you to the widow's house, and he will collect all the money she has there, and he will bring it to me." He assigned one of his friends for this mission, and just like him, he was a crook and someone that people should pay attention from him. He sneaked into the country at night. He reached the house and climbed its walls to the top of the roof using his rope. Now, the first thing he noticed when he got to the top, that the lights were still on, meaning that the woman was still awake and she is still with her children. So he said to himself, "They are still awake, huh? I'll wait for the moment when they are asleep, so I can get in and search for any gold or money and steal it." But as we said before, the widow was smart. She sensed the existence of someone in the top of the roof, and she knew that it was a thief who is greedy for her money. So she called all her children, surrounded them around her, and told them that a thief has arrived to their house. The children panicked. They wanted to start shouting for help, but the woman asked them to remain silent and to listen to what she would say. As the thief was waiting for the lights to be turned off, the widow was secretly speaking to her children about the trick she will do for the thief to be caught. As soon as they were done planning, one of her children asked her this, "Mother, I want to ask you." "Asking about what?" How many breasts you have?" She said, "I have 4. 4? Aye. But mother, I only see 3. Where is the 4th? She told him, "Your father cut it off." "Father? But why?" She told him, "For no reason, actually. One day we had a fight, and you know how much stubborn we are when we are mad at each other. So as a way to show who is in charge around the house, he cut off one of my breasts." Now one of her children added and said, You didn't say anything. You could have screamed for help so that the neighbors can hear you and stop him. The widow replied, but I did. I did scream for help, but no one came for me. No one came for my help. Her child told her, oh no, you did not. If you had screamed for help and the neighbors heard you, they could have stopped father from cutting off your breast. Now, in a manner of addressing everyone around the room, she told them all, all right, my children, I will show you. I will show you how the way how I was screaming when your father wanted to cut off my breast. Help! Help! Someone, please, help! The trick here, ladies and gentlemen, that the widow was actually screaming for help. The thief, however, was not aware of that, thinking that she was showing her children the way she was screaming when her husband wanted to cut off her breast. The neighbors, though, heard the widow scream at that time of the night, and they knew that someone was there in her house. So they had a look around her house and every corner, finding the thief laying in the top of the roof. The thief was busted and sent to spend the night in the jail. The next day, he was represented to the governor of the country. The governor asked him about what was he doing in the widow's house. The thief replied, well, your honor, I'm just a poor man who needs some money, and that woman has a lot of it. This answer, however, did not convince the governor, so he sentenced him 6 months in jail. 6 months later, the thief was released, so he returned to his friends in the cave. The leader was furious about what happened, and he wanted how things led that way. So he told him about the whole story, how he went to the country, how he climbed the widow's walls, like the walls of the house, using his rope, how he found the lights were still on, and so on and so forth. When he was done telling his story, the leader bursted out laughing, and he said to him, you fool, you are absolutely good for nothing. I'll go by myself. I'll take all the money she has there, and I'll make her poor until she marry me against her will. So he waited that day until midnight. He wore his clothes, he picked his gear, and then he went to the country. Like a shadow, he sneaked into the country in the middle of the night. He turned to the left, he turned to the right to see if the road was clear. When he checked, he went immediately to the widow's house. He pulled out his rope and threw it to the top, climbing to the top of the roof. Same case scenario, he also found the lights were still on. So he said to himself, just take as much time as you need, woman. By the time when you're asleep, you'll get struck by a smooth criminal. Now, the widow kept in her mind from last time that the thief or one of his friends would return someday for revenge. That day, she heard a faint sound in the top of the roof as a notification that another thief has arrived. So she called her children again and informed them that another thief has arrived to their house. This time the children were clueless about what they are going to do. But the woman, she already had another trick up in her sleeve. Well, as soon as they were done planning, the plan was executed, and one of her children asked her this. Tell me, mother, the money that our father left, where is it? In a matter of addressing everyone, she told them all. Look, my children, I know that the thieves are after us for our money, but they have nothing to take from me. I exchanged all the gold that your father, I exchanged all the money that your father left into gold, and I kept it inside a wooden box. And that box is hidden in the bottom of the well. So when a thief comes and searches all the rooms, he finds nothing and goes empty-handed. Now, I will give you a moment to think. Who do you think was listening to this conversation? Of course, the thief. The thief was listening to the whole conversation. When they were done, he said to himself, "Easy peasy, lemon squeezy." He went down where the well was. And that night, especially that night, it was a cold winter night. So he wondered, should I take off my clothes or not? Like the proverb says, risk it for the biscuit. So he took off his clothes and then he went for a swim in the bottom of the well. When he reached the bottom, he started looking for the wooden box in the water, but he did not find anything. So he dived even deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper for the sake to find the box. But again, he did not find anything. At that time, the thief started shaking from the cold. His arms and legs were frozen that he could barely move them to climb up to the top of the well. When he reached the top, he sought his clothes so he can cover his naked body, but he did not find them. So he thought that he put them somewhere else. So he looked for them in around the house and every corner, but he did not find them. And at that time, the thief realized it was the widow's trick, and she was the one who took his clothes. And if he does something, well, he'll end up in jail just like his friend. With the taste of defeat in his mouth, he sought an exit so he can save his life and save his soul. He went where the door was. He found it cracked like someone made it open for him. Just he was about to leave, he heard the widow's voice telling him from behind, "And please, don't forget to close the door behind you when you leave." He replied, "Just leave it for someone who is dumb enough so you can take his clothes too." He returned to his friends that night, naked and shaking from the cold. His friends were shocked from the scene they saw in front of them. They set a fire to warm him up. They put some clothes in him, and then he went to sleep. When he woke up the next day, they asked him about what happened, so he told them all. Well, long story short, I fell for the widow's trick as well. Only instead of being sent to jail just like my friend, I was sent butt naked to you last night. As they were laughing together about what happened, they asked him about the next move. He told them, "Look, I don't want to seek that woman's way anymore. Leave her, live in peace. I don't want to deal with her anymore. Just let her be." And so, the woman gained the respect of the thieves, and so does everyone else in the country. And afterwards, she gained the only thing that she ever wanted, which is tranquility. And until the end of time, the widow lives with her children happily ever after. With the story, we've come to the end of this video. Again, I would like to say thank you very much for joining us. Please leave your likes and leave your feedbacks in the comment sections so we can know your opinions about what we are doing, how we can improve it, and how we can make it a thing. And with that being said, we call it a day. Take care, everybody.
Oh, lovely people, That was a fine telling from a great storyteller. And whether they're in Morocco or just want to donate their funds to Morocco, put their hats going towards the Moroccan storytellers, anything would be incredibly appreciated. Because those tellers down in Morocco, you know, it's not come June, they'll look at their tax returns and decide what the government's going to go to them, and there's no social security and there's nothing there. They're just living on thin air, so anything you can put in the hat would be appreciated. Thank you. And however you're watching this, if you're watching it on something else, go to worldstorytellingcafe.com.